Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host, Caliban, and let me tell you, brother, with all the little Sailormaniacs out there, you gotta take your school, eat your prayers, and say your vitamins every day.
Yes, and we're a couple of magical people ready to moon crystal power make up this episode. Sailor Noob is brought to you by Let's Get Ready to Rumble with Dumbo!
Oh yeah! What you gonna do when Luna runs wild on you?
Oh yeah! That's all I know.
You in a doo-wop group?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Is that the Kool-Aid Man, or is that something that like a wrestler? I'm not really into wrestling, so
Kool-Aid
I really
Man.
don't know.
Great. I don't know the history of the Kool-Aid Man as a mascot, but great wrestler, right? That's the kind of thing. Because the perfect wrestling gimmick definitely is stealing something from somebody. Right?
Yes.
There's because it's all based on trends. I'm going to be talking about wrestling a lot on this episode, so try to keep up. But it's all about trends. It's all about taking something from somebody else, something you saw in a movie. Wrestling, I'm not saying that wrestling writers or the people that create like gimmicks, they're called gimmicks, aren't clever or creative, but they're not clever or creative. The funny thing is that it's an art, and it's an art of the moment. And it's something that's like cheap. They're not worried about that. They're paying for the explosions. They're paying to keep the ring in good repair. Sometimes they pay the wrestlers. And they're not really paying for like IP, intellectual property. You know, They're just like, what's hot right now? Like when the Gulf War, you know, we got a guy, he's the Iron Sheik. I know there was an Iron Sheik before that, but they really brought like the Iron Sheik thing back because it's like, oh, boo, he's, you know, Arab. We're terrible. We're Americans.
Wow.
It's that sort of thing. But what they don't think about is the fact that if this guy stays healthy and doesn't die of like a cocaine heart explosion, he's going to wrestle for 35 years, which means he'll have that same dumb gimmick for 35 years.
Right.
But once it gets over, that's kayfabe, wrestling term, with the audience, people want it and they expect it. So a bald guy can come out and flip everybody off. And now everybody, because he was mad one night or something, and now he'll be flipping people off for the next 30 years of his career and drinking beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And probably, you know, suffering brain damage. I don't think he actually drinks all that beer.
Let's hope not.
I think his chin drinks a lot of that beer and his shirt drinks that beer.
Maybe that's on purpose. Like, I'm not drinking all this beer. Some of it is going down my chin and into my clothes.
But anyway, if the Kool-Aid Man's maybe a little too far, just like you couldn't have a wrestler named Mickey Mouse. That wouldn't really work.
No.
But you could have like Mickey Louse, and it's like, oh, he's real dirty, but he's got pants with like 2 buttons on the front. You know, you could probably get away with that.
Wow. That's...
So it's the Kool-Aid Man. Oh, and he, you know, busts through a wall every time he comes out.
You have to put like a fake wall every time.
And
like,
then you get a letter.
Bricks or something.
And then it's like the cool AIDS man. It's going weird direction.
No.
But it's also, you know, not a lot of class in wrestling either. So anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yes. So today we are talking about episode number 63. Ono wa tsukuyo utsukushiku. Rain no shin hisatsu waza in Japanese. Women must be strong and beautiful. Ray's new special technique, the English translation, and the English title, Gramps in a Pickle.
Women don't have to be anything.
Thank you for your permission to not have to be anything.
What is this, like, black pill feminism? But our listeners have to give us reviews.
Yes.
They don't have a choice.
Please.
Whatever listening platform you're on, give us a review and a rating.
Yes.
Go for it. And I don't even know anymore.
I don't know what
It's been Apple Podcasts. Well, It hasn't been Apple. It's been iTunes for a long time. Then it was Apple Podcasts. It still is, I think. And I don't know where people get the show. And that's cool. Like, we're not asking people to get the show anywhere. But if the thing that you get the show on has any kind of rating or any kind of feedback, do the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
That way we know, we do the rounds. We're like the night watchman. And it takes a lot of time. Every, week I go between the different platforms and go, okay, we're still on. And okay, we're looking good here and there. And then I check, see if we got any mail. No mail. You know how it feels to get no mail.
Yeah.
So give us some mail. And we'll say, ariga thanks.
What?
That's a thing now.
That's a thing now?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I was watching a video of a Japanese national was talking about Japanese history, and she said, ariga thanks.
Huh.
And I think it's like
it's a combining of the two.
Bilingual, like a HAPA thing.
Yeah, right. That is so bizarre. I've never heard that before.
Well, I didn't want that to be the focus of this segment. Sorry. The focus was reviews. It'd be great. Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. There's probably way more platforms than we know about out there, too. So
yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, if it's a kazoo, that's fine. But we'd be appreciative. We're also appreciative of new patrons.
Yes.
Of which we have one.
Mm-hmm.
We got a new patron just today. Name of Max.
Thank you, Max.
Who joined us at the Intercentury level, and we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
When you join our Patreon, I'm doing it. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Yes.
When you become a patron of our Patreon, oh no, don't get fancy. You get access to extra content. You get a brand new podcast. You get the outtakes from the show and other stuff. I don't think we're doing the other stuff as consistently as we want to be. So we're actually going to put some other things in there. We are going to start this live action watch of PGSM pretty soon.
Yes.
Which, oh boy, we might have to ration it out.
Yes.
How fast will it get ahead of where we are? Or just do things that are like, well, you don't want to know about that.
Well, can I speak candidly without spoiling anything for you? Except it might... it's only based on the first arc of the manga, and it goes and it does other things that like the manga doesn't do. So it'll be different, but you've already seen all of the first season of the anime. So it's that's what it is. And it's one season.
But how do you sell an Artemis plushie if he's not in the live action?
I guess I don't know. You just hope that you sell an Artemis plushie anyways, so...
Can't tell if you're being cagey or not. That's the best kind of cagey, really. So anyway, thanks a lot, Max, and if you want to be one of our patrons, finish line, I can see it.
Yes.
Go to www.patreon.com.
Yes.
/Sailor Noob.
Yes.
Beads of sweat, just
good
bullets
job
coming down.
Good job, Cal.
But I got it all right. Speaking of sweat.
A+. Yes.
We got some sweating to do today.
Would you like to do some sweating as you...
I will be.
Yeah.
For an episode...
Tell us about the episode.
Just literally about, the sweet science, that's boxing, the sport of kings, I think that's golf, whatever they call wrestling, which is literally just about interacting with somebody and no words. There's a lot of story in this episode, and we got to get to it. And there's a lot of implications to what's going on in this episode that I'm sure we'll spend quite a lot of time talking about.
Yes.
As we go on. But we begin this episode at Hikawa Shrine, and Gramps is sweeping up, and he's wondering, where are the girls? They haven't been around lately. I think he means females in general, not our girls.
Yes.
Also, is there no other business? If I go to a shrine, I'm going to be real disappointed when I go to a shrine in Japan, and there isn't a guy just like sweeping up. What are they sweeping? Sweeping.
I know.
It's just...
It's something you see all the time. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Leaves.
I can see that.
And we're just making sure that the shrine is
Are they like white
clean.
tiles? It's like, well, no, we can't get dust or dirt on them. It's going to show.
No, they're not really
Okay,
white
anyway,
tiles.
He's doing that sweeping, but he's doing it like he's like dejectedly sweeping.
Yes.
And Ray presents him with a magazine. It's Nanako magazine. And tells him there's an article in it that says, look out for the dirty old man at Hikawa Shrine.
Yeah.
Couple of things.
Yep.
First, that's really more of a warning or an admonition than an article. Like, is it 5 paragraphs? Did they do interviews with people? Unless they interviewed some of the women they just harassed, which is awful. But that'd be more like an expose.
Yeah.
An investigative journalism piece.
Right.
There's pictures in the article.
There are.
It looks like a 2-page spread.
Yes.
But is that an article? That's more like, stars are just like us. It's not clear. Just Just a little journalism nitpick there.
Yeah,
but
sure.
anyway, the magazine's warning people about the shrine.
Yeah.
Number 2, Grandpa, this is it. This is your reckoning.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lecherous old man is an anime trope, but this is the Me Too era, and it's not as funny as it never was.
Yes.
So
Ha-ha, I see what you did there.
hopefully we'll confront that
Yeah.
in this episode. Ray is like, okay, Grandpa, this is it. Time to look at your life choices. But Gramps is going full redemption. He's going to quit. He's going to get out of this life.
Mm-hmm.
He says Ray can take over the shrine, and he's going to pursue another profession.
Mm-hmm.
A shrine without girls, he says, is like miso soup without the miso. This doesn't seem so contrite.
No.
Okay, see ya. Don't let the bancho hit you on the way out. Not really repentant. The next morning at the Tsukino household, Usagi is working on homework, or so Luna thinks. When she jumps up on Usagi's study table, she sees that, yes, Usagi is asleep.
Mm-hmm.
However, Usagi starts giggling in her sleep because Chibiusa is rifling through her pockets looking for that silver crystal.
I know.
By the way, I hope you like Luna, because that's about all she's in this episode.
I know.
Usagi leaps up. She throws Chibi over her knee and smacks her a little behind. Careful, Usagi. Remember what happened the last time that you did that.
I know, right?
It was like an explosion of light.
I know.
Chibi thinks, I want to be stronger than Usagi. Chibi, baby, that's what the nighttime is for. Wait till she goes to sleep and then...
Whoa!
Right? Get her. Before Usagi can hit her again, she remembers, oh, I told Ray that I'd help her out today. And she stands up. She stands up so fast that Chibi is like thrown off of her. You know, like your body, your lap and your torso.
Yes.
It becomes like a slingshot when you stand up.
Yeah,
fast.
right.
And Chibi goes flying into the camera, and we reverse to see her lying stunned on the floor. She's like, I'm going to be strong. At the shrine, the girls are back. And the girls are back.
Yes.
Minako, Makoto, Rei, Ami, and Usagi. They're all in Miko outfits.
Yes.
And they're helping sell prayer slips, and they're doing all the work of the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's busy. Usagi says, when beautiful girls are shrine maidens, it's natural to have more customers. Which is like the flip side of Grandpa's sexism, I think. I don't think that sex sells is in the Kanushi handbook.
No.
But what do I know? Ami is counting up the money. She's putting her math skills to work. And I'm sensing a spinoff here. Hot Girl Shrine. This has got to be an anime already.
I mean, I feel like I've seen this.
Kool-Aid Man.
Right.
And the Hot Girl Shrine. Ray says Grandpa got a new job. And it's something weird. We cut to his like house or cabin or whatever, one of the side buildings in the shrine. Mm-hmm. And it says, protect Esthi. Mm-hmm. Save Martha. Protect Esthi above the door, but it should say maybe abandon all hope because Grandpa has started an aerobics class, or more accurately, a new sport that mixes self-defense and calisthenics. Yes. Ray, Usagi, and Chibi spy on him through some holes in the door, and they see Gramps and Yuichiro warming up in tights and what looks like a wrestling ring. Also, he took Yuichiro with him. That wasn't in the deal.
I know, right?
Ray
You're on your own, Ray.
Yeah. Ray agrees with us and says, this isn't fit for a shrine, but Grandpa confronts her and says, do you want to take away my purpose in life?
I know.
What purpose? Says Ray. Flirting with girls?
Yeah.
He asks, is it wrong? And she says, it's wrong. So he's really steering into this. They always double down initially, don't they? Ray storms off, and Gramps asks Usagi and Chibi if they want to join Protect Esthi. And Chibi's like, I'll take one, please. And Usagi's like, nope-a-diddly-doo, and just runs her out of there. Chibi is not to be alone with Mr. Whedon.
No.
In the Rainbow Room, Rubeus is staring at the hologram as usual when the Ayakashis approach and ask where Koan is. Mm-hmm. But he tells them that she's already begun her operation to capture the newest crystal point.
Yes.
The newest crystal point is... world's shortest drum roll, but it's Grandpa's gym.
Yeah, right.
One of the sisters, she's got auburn hair and orange ears. I'm going to call her Turnt Sienna. She gets in his face, and she's like, how come Koan gets all these jobs? Did she not watch the last 2 weeks?
I know, and then, like...
Birth year was right in there.
She's like, yeah!
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes episodes air out of order. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's what's happening. I don't know.
But he's like, oh, no, it's cool. It's cool. But he's got like a sweat drop coming down his face. Unclear.
It is unclear.
Unclear. At Hikawa Shrine, Gramps is handing out flyers for Protect Esthi, but no one is buying. Chibiusa appears. Nice work, Usagi.
I know,
And
right?
she's like, I'll join. And Gramps is like, well, this is an escalation in criminality, but it's better than no students. Chibi thinks, I'm going to be stronger than Usagi. We see a vision of her spanking Usagi.
I know, which I actually kind of appreciate. Because
So
it's a flip on
everybody's
that.
got the wrong motives here.
Yeah.
Except for Yuichiro, who I don't think he knows what's going on, but he slides up and says, I found all these students. And he's got like 24 girls with him.
Yeah.
Yuichiro is he's the Judas goat in this scenario.
What?
The Judas goat.
The Judas goat?
Judas goat's a goat you have on a farm, and you train it to do stuff. Here's what it does. It ingratiates itself with the cattle, right, that you've got. You know, you're a dairy, or you're not a dairy, you're a meat farm, and it leads the cows up the ramp, or leads them to the ramp that leads to the truck or to the slaughterhouse.
To the
And then once the cows are like, and then like the goat's like, oh, good job, goat. Here's a can. Or a boot.
Wow. Okay.
It just
yeah.
works. It works for boots.
Yeah. Yeah. That is accurate for what Yuichiro is doing, even though he doesn't know what's going on. So yes.
That's Kiro Miru for farm country.
Sure.
More like,
Yeah.
hey, look at this. Look at this now here. That night, as the moon shines over Hikawa, we hear the howling of wolves. Wait, what? Does Azuma Chuban have a wolf problem?
I don't know. It's like cartoon, like
a
short...
pack of wolves.
I know, right?
was shopping on Harajuku, and their hair was perfect. Koen descends upon Gramps' gym. They stopped at the ASIC store. Koen descends upon Gramps' gym and the wrestling ring, and she dog powers the ring, which will do something. But she seems happy about it. Yeah. The next day, Ray is cleaning the floors, and she's doing that racing thing. It looks kind of fun. But it hurt your back after a while.
I think she's doing it like way faster than you would normally do it.
Oh, really? I don't know. It seems like they do them pretty fast.
Well, but she seems agitated. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We hear the howling of wolves. No. Quickly clean the floors.
Inside you, there are two wolves.
They will slip on the floors. And Usagi arrives saying Ohio, but Ray says it's not morning, it's midday. You should say konnichiwa. We have had this discussion many times.
Yeah, I know.
You and I.
Mm-hmm.
Usagi says, you're in a bad mood. And Ray's like, yeah, Yuichiro brought a bunch of girls here. And Usagi's like, you're jealous. Let's go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
At the gym, the girls are all there in their crazy 90s leotards, including Koen, who is not in disguise. No mask or anything. She's just there in a leotard.
But Usagi doesn't recognize her.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Grandpa and Yuichiro enter to thunderous applause, and Grandpa is sprung. He's like, this is what I've been looking for. Yes, it has to be like this.
I know.
Koen offers, you'll need a female instructor with this many students. What is this, the U.S. gymnastics team?
I know. Whoa.
Standing next to Koen is a red-haired woman with a scowl on her face, and she is a brick house. She's like 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
And Koen says, we're skilled in the martial arts. We'll help you. And Grandpa loves this idea. Koen is like, do it. And the red-haired droid says, Dumble. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. I don't know what else to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, in Japanese it's Dumbaru, but it's Dumble. Yeah.
We cut to a small young woman standing by the ring, and Dumble goes, Dumble. It just punches her like through the ropes into the ring.
Oh, I know.
This is like first day glow stuff.
Yeah.
And Koen is like, don't worry, this is Protect Esthi. And Dumble puts the smackdown on this chick. She throws her into the ceiling, and Usagi and Ray, who are watching this from the door, are like, kawaii, not kawaii.
Yes.
Kawaii.
Yes.
I know the difference.
Yes.
Ray senses an evil aura, but there's no time for that, because here comes Chibi. She's in full aerobics getup, leg warmers and all. And Usagi's like, no. But Chibi says, gotta get to practice. Dumbo. Girl hits ceiling again. I'm gonna go. And Chibi takes off. Phew. Dumbo slams the girl to the mat. I guess she was hitting her into the mat, not the ceiling before, but it worked for the bit. But she's had enough. This girl gets up. She runs at Dumbo. Anybody get that girl's contact information? Or a picture of her face before? Right. Dumbo boots her through the ropes, and Koen is like, well, master, how was the lesson? Grandpa rummages around in his soul for a conscience, but before he disappoints us, Yuichiro appears in the doorway, flanked by Rei and Usagi. I like how this has been structured kind of like a wrestling match so far. You got the bad guy or the heel wailing on the opponent, and it looks like all is lost, and then the sound of breaking glass. Oh my God! It's Stone Cold Steve Austin! The Texas Rattlesnake is coming to the ring! That's how his theme starts, with the sound of glass breaking. If Usagi's theme started with breaking glass, she'd just hop out on stage with a bloody foot.
Oh no!
My God! My God! She's clumsy and a bit of a crybaby! That's about it! Anyway, Yuichiro says, I am the coach. And Grandpa's stuck. He thinks, if I please her, it'll make him mad. But if I try to please him, I'll make her mad. So just consequence-based morality then. Okay.
Okay. Right. From a Shinto priest.
Like a child.
Yeah, right.
Despite the clear choice, Grandpa's paralyzed. And Rei says, Yuichiro's been loyal to you. Will you betray him? There's this, heroic music playing. But Cohen leans in close to Gramps, and his eyes turn to hearts, and he does this thing with his finger. He starts to, point his finger up, like he's going to point
at
Yuichiro, and then it goes, and it goes, back to her, and he's like, I choose her. And, instantly the hero music stops.
Yes.
And Yuichiro's like, aw. And he turns around and he walks out like Charlie Brown.
Yeah, he's so dejected.
Ray's like, how could you? But Gramps is like, oh, yeah? I catch. In the shrine office, later, I guess, the girls are having a tea break, and Mina says, so you had a fight with your grandpa. And everybody's on message. Mako says, oh, I guess he doesn't like your boyfriend. Oh, everything's about boyfriends. And Ami says, solving problems can be fun. Like this math problem.
I know.
And Usagi is just housing a plate of cookies.
I actually think it's senbei, but we'll get to that.
Okay, well, Usagi's mouth is empty at one point, and she says, Ray, didn't that coach seem weird? I don't know, would you remember somebody who tried to kill you 3 weeks ago? But that's a problem this show just lives with.
Yes.
Ray says, psh, whatever, I don't care. I'm out of hot water for this tea. Usagi's about to eat another cookie, but she stops and says, Ray, you're so cool. Which, saves this whole scene for me. Ray actually burns herself on the hot water, and she drops it, and Mina's like, oh, you okay? But Ray's just, cleaning it up, and she's doing that thing where she's totally silent, but she's not actually looking at her hands as she cleans up. Yeah. She's 75%.
Yeah.
She's right at the chin.
I know.
Not at the top of the head.
And Minako is you're not your usual self.
Back at the gym, more carnage is being inflicted by Dumble on the students. The ring is full of fallen students, and it starts to glow with a blue-green fire, which it's probably not supposed to do. No. And it seems to drive the girls nuts. They all start fighting with each other. High kicks, suplexes, lockups, sleeper holds, arm locks. It's like a Royal Rumble in there. And it's all according to Cohen's plan.
Yes.
Have a Terminator robot beat the living snot out of one of these girls for hours, and it's mayhem.
Yeah, I know, right?
The gym itself is awash in a blue light, and Gramps is worried. He's like, stop! Our motto is strength and beauty. Fight sexier. Pull her hair.
Oh, my goodness.
But the women turn on him.
Yes.
And that's the end of the episode. Dark, surely, but I think we can agree that it was justice.
Wow.
So, Kiro Miru, no. Instead, a great injustice happens. One of the girls takes a swing at him, but he bounces off the ropes, and he punches them each in turn in the thigh. I guess he's a small man.
Yes.
And they all fall down.
Uh-huh.
All right. Cohen is perched daintily on an exercise bike. I love it. And she's like, nice. Dumble, pull his face out of his butt.
Oh, my God.
And Dumble is like, Dumble. And her muscles start to grow, and she beefs up huge. She turns green. She has a championship belt around her waist.
Yes.
With a red gem with a black moon on it.
Uh-huh.
And a cape, spikes, fins. She's got Aladdin Sane makeup and a spiked mullet.
Uh-huh.
It's go time.
Yeah, right.
She looks like David Bowie wanted to look, but Earth's technology failed him. Cohen reverts back to her Mugler. Oh, back in my Mugler now.
Yeah, right.
And now she's, I love it because she's sort of like Dumble's manager.
Right.
As Dumble bounces off the ropes, Koen says, like, give him the Dumble elbow drop.
Right, she's shouting moves at her to do.
Yeah, I think I'm rooting for Dumble on this one. Dumble goes off the top rope, plunging elbow down to Grandpa, but Ray pushes him out of the way at the last second. She gets it in the leg.
Yeah.
Grandpa, you ruin everything. But this is all on brand. This is all scripted, you know, like this all happens in a wrestling match, this kind of thing. Plus, that's just such you could like break somebody's leg or bruise it, but you go, oh, my leg. Oh, that's something that reads to the audience. So the wrestler can go, oh, no. And people go, oh, no, his leg is hurt.
I know, but it's like worse because she's got like spikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know.
It's fun. They're foam.
Yeah.
This is all fake.
Right.
Ray's hurting. Grandpa says, I could take her. No, you can't. But he lines up with Dumble and she tries to punt him. Good choice. But he like Naruto dodges it. And then she throws a spin kick and he's got to look on his face like, I'm not going to be able to dodge this. But Ray pushes him out of the way and then she gets kicked.
Yep.
They both fly into the turnbuckle. Ray's on Dream Street. She's out of it. Mm-hmm. Dumble starts stomping her in the back like again and again. But she's protecting Grandpa under her. And he says, I can't believe you care about me this much. And she's like, of course, you're the only grandpa I have.
Yeah.
It's not great that he can't imagine suffering for somebody else. We call that sociopathy, generally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a good look, Gramps.
Yeah. Koen calls out for the double lariat. And Dumble charges up and, like, shoots beams out of her arms, which is not what a lariat is, but I guess it does the same thing. Grandpa goes flying. He's down for the count. Usagi, remember her?
Yeah.
Appears.
Yep.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
She's like, Ray, Grandpa! And she transforms. I guess she had to wait until Gramps was unconscious,
I guess, yeah.
Usagi's going to join the fight, but two can tag in at that game. Koen gets into Dumble's palm, and Dumble throws her up, and she does Koen Dark Power Flip. She dives at Ray and Gramps and bursts into blue flames. It looks bad, but she's smacked in the head by a flying scepter, which boomerangs back. And Usagi makes a 10 out of 10 entrance.
Yes.
From behind a pillar, saying... Crushing a simple grandpa's only joy in life? Okay, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
You've gone too far. In the name of the moon, I'll punish you. Koen is just touching up her makeup. Pat, 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 pat.
On one side of her face.
And she says, oh, did you say something? Oh! Epic 90s burn.
I know.
The reverse card has been played. By God, that's an Uno. Dumble fires her double lariat at Usagi, and it speeds toward her, but a spinning rose flies in front of it, and, like, spins it out or something. Like, the rose is spinning one way, it counteracts the spinning beam, and the beam disappears, and the rose drops to the floor. Tuxedo Mask stands atop the ring post. Oh my God! It's Tuxedo Mask! A very confusing counteraction to the enemy's attack! Does this gym have a second-story window? He says, training yourself to be strong is good, but do not lose your gracefulness. Record scratch. Okay, what? What the hell kind of thing is that to say? What are you implying?
I don't know. I think...
Hey, don't get too many muscles.
I don't know. I think that's what he's saying, but it's like because he made some comment before about how he doesn't like weak girls, so maybe he was thinking
I don't like weak girls. Hey, don't get too strong.
Yeah, what are you mixed messages here? What are you trying to say? What do you want?
Then I can't overpower you.
Yeah,
I don't think he thought that one through. That dog ain't gonna hunt. He and Dumble dive at each other, and they collide in midair, and he tells Usagi, now! Oh, you can't handle yourself? I guess you're too graceful. You need to strengthen up.
Wow.
Usagi hits her with the MPH because I guess, like, she was distracted. Anyway, I don't know. Usually, we do something to the bad guy. The bad guy's like, oh? And she shatters it to pieces.
Yes.
I mean, as God is my witness, she is broken in half. Koen is like, oh no, I got a blotch on my face. Bitch, you weren't even in the fight. Okay, fine. She shoots dark fire at Usagi, and Usagi runs off, so we're going to deal with that later. In the ring, Ray mourns what's been done to her grandpa. He only wanted a little harassment for a treat. This cool Eye of the Tiger-like theme starts playing.
Yes.
And we get Mars Star Power makeup, heels, booty tooched, whole thing. More dark fire, but Ray pushes Usagi out of the way and says, you want fire? Fire Soul! And the two fire streams meet, and they're doing it! They're doing the Dragon Ball, the tug-of-war thing! Usagi's worried, but Tuxedo Mask is there like, let her go. Let her go. She's got to do this.
I know.
And Ray says, how could you do this to Grandpa? Burning mandala.
Yep.
And she shoots 8 rings of fire for the 8 symbols, and I forgot what they mean.
We'll talk
They're
about
holy.
it. Yeah.
And they blow through Kone's fire and singe her dress. I mean, we can't lose her yet. I mean,
No.
she should get her affairs in order, though. She disappears. Sailor Moon says, maybe I should join Project SD to become a strong girl. And she says it in this kind of flirty kind of way.
Uh-huh.
And Tuxedo Mask, he seems like he's into it. But he has a vision. A vision of the Crystal City and serenity and fire. And he's like, yeah, you do you. And he just takes off.
I know.
So he's like, well, we had a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gone. Ray shows up, and she's like, he showed up to rescue you, so you know he cares.
Yeah.
The next day, we hear the strains of a public domain version of Rhythm Is Gonna Get Ya by the Miami Sound Machine. They're coming from Grandpa's gym.
Mm-hmm.
He's rebranded to Protect Jazz Dance.
I know.
And he's doing fun kicks with Yuichiro and Chibi.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the girls to show up, he says.
Uh-huh.
No comeuppance! By God! No comeuppance!
I know!
Like shaking the hand of the devil! We gotta talk.
It's disappointing.
We gotta talk.
Yeah, what's up?
What? Yeah, what is up? The show has a chance to subvert this trope.
Yes.
Which is clearly long established in anime, but
Yes.
runs counter to, I think, what this show wants you to get out of this show.
Yes.
And so they have this perfect setup, he gets the snot pummeled out of him, they save his ass, and then he's, comically bandaged at the end or something like that. But
Right.
he's like, well, no more girls for me.
Right. I think I'm going to focus on being a priest or something like that. But no.
That doesn't happen.
Nope.
No.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No. And it doesn't there's a thing, there's a thing called jerk-ass Homer.
Okay.
Now, some of our listeners might be of the age that jerk-ass Homer is the only Homer they know, unless they have a
Homer Simpson.
Hulu. Yeah, no, jerk-ass Homer, the poet. Just say blue. Why is the sea wine dark, you jerk? That's a history joke. But, where Homer is always been a goof and ridiculous and kind of dumb. But as the seasons of The Simpsons went on, they just ran out of things like this. Homer's like, I'm going to get all the beer or whatever. And then he tries to get the beer, but it hurts Marge's feelings. And he's like, Marge, I don't need the beer. I need you. Or whatever. And it's like, that's right. They ran out of those decades ago. Uh-huh. So now it's literally just Homer drives a bulldozer through a church or something like that. And it's like, whoops, oh, no comeuppance.
Yeah, right.
And then even for a while, in the teen seasons, they were well, he's not going to have any comeuppance. Then they were making a bit out of that. But now that's over. They just keep leaving things in their wake. They have exhausted. They have melted all the candles.
Yeah.
Every trope, everything you could do, every joke you can tell, they've told.
Yes.
And there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
This is episode 63.
I know.
What a great time for you to be changing paradigms and switch. And the girls are getting powers. Why can't the supporting characters, especially the most problematic supporting character, transform?
That is a fantastic question. I mean, especially, 'cause I think I've talked about before how he's very different in the manga, and this is something that they did for his character in the anime. Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure why.
I don't trust that little cat.
Well, that alien cat.
That mouse cat.
Yeah, that mouse cat. Because this is geared toward 10-year-old girls. So why is there a lecherous old man in here? Because
to get them ready for the world.
Oh, that's depressing.
Or for the gymnastics team. Don't laugh. This is why I quit wrestling, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just too sexist. And it's when I was watching it as a child, I won't tell you the decade. So in the 40s, it was it just wasn't adult enough to be sexist, because it was Hulk Hogan. There's a guy had a parrot. Another guy had a board.
Right.
It's pretty low key.
Sure.
And then in the WWF, now the WWE, they had the Attitude Era, where they realized that oh no, teenage boys and college kids watch this too. Mm-hmm. So let's do wet t-shirt contests and stuff like that.
Right.
And that got built into it, and it's just never been stripped out of it. Even though, and they were challenged by and I don't believe in the Parents Television Council or the stressed out mommies or whatever they've got. Like,
right.
Anybody can do whatever they want, and then you can tell your kid what he or she can or cannot watch.
Right, exactly.
You don't get to control other things.
No.
But it's kind of like gross. And it is a kid's. It's marketed to kids. Mm-hmm. They sell billions of dollars of toys for kids. It's for kids.
Right. It's too much.
Doctor Who wouldn't come out and be like, now that I'm a girl, it's just like, it's for a certain audience.
Yeah, right.
And so there was that. And also, even if it was for adults, the women just have it so much worse than the men. This has changed quite a bit, as we're going to talk about, I'm sure, female wrestlers today.
Yeah.
Female wrestlers have gotten a lot more respect in American wrestling.
Yeah.
And are performers in their own right. Mm-hmm. But it's still that, like, 75% out of 100 kind of thing.
Right.
So, I don't know. I used to be a big wrestling fan as a child, then as an adult for a while, and then I just kind of walked away because it was like, I just don't.
Was there any, like, big event, or did you just kind of like
Yes, it was the mud wrestling of 2009 or something.
I asked, so
well, I mean, I'm only slightly joking, and there wasn't any one thing. It was just don't want to do this anymore.
Okay, sure.
It was more of the people dying.
That's another thing
we
with
talk
wrestling.
about that later.
Yeah,
But
it's not.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Instead, we'll talk about this is the meme.
What is?
This is it.
What is the meme?
The Sailor Moon redraw meme has been a thing.
Yes.
Throughout the last year, I think.
Yes.
And it comes from this episode. When when Taylor Swift comes in, and she's like, Romeo something? I don't know any Taylor Swift songs.
I don't know.
And he's on the ring post.
Yeah. And
looking down at her, and she's looking up at him. That's the face for the redraw.
I did not notice that.
Now you know.
Huh. Well, I'm going to have to...
It's too bad that the context is he's telling her, don't work out too much.
Yeah, right. That's not...
You're going to get all stringy.
That's weird. Do you want to know what Protect S means?
I couldn't even imagine.
Well,
although I think it'd be interesting if Ray had an aunt named Esther, and then Tuxedo Mask had an aunt named Esther, and he's like, why did you say that? Sorry.
So, according to Sailor Moon Wiki, Protect Est or Protetto Esute in Japanese, Est is an abbreviation of aesthetic. So, apparently it's Protect Aesthetic.
No,
well,
aesthetic is an AE.
I know, but I looked it up and you can spell it without an A, apparently.
You can.
Yes. It's not common. I didn't know that you could.
Well, nobody does in English, at least, or in American English.
Right.
It's a Latin diphthong.
Right.
And so, okay. All right. So they leave it out.
Yes.
Right.
So that's
so you're going to protect an aesthetic.
Uh-huh.
And the aesthetic in this case is
strength and beauty.
Strength and beauty.
Well, that's their motto, right? I'm stringing it together. More what are
they're protecting?
I don't know.
I thought it was like a self-defense thing, because he's mentioned self-defense.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
So it's like, you have like female self-defense classes, something like that.
Right.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Or like maybe if it was like Project. That would be a great Bravo show.
That would almost make more sense, right?
Project Aesthetic. Tonight, our designers get together. Yeah, but
aesthetics kind of sounds
top to bottom, the whole thing's a disaster. I don't want to spend too much time trying to figure it out.
No, aesthetics kind of sounds like calisthenics, kind of. I don't know. I don't know how they got to where they got, but so there you go.
Now you're thinking like a Japanese person.
Yeah.
First you think, noodles, great. And then you think, aesthetic, calisthenic. Not the same at all.
No.
But could kind of sound the same to like a very tired Japanese cartoon writer.
Right. What do we call this? Oh, we have to come up with a name. Just
like hand on your thing and and you're staring off in the distance, and across the street at the Sanyo store, is like a wall of TVs.
Yeah,
and
right.
Jane Fonda's just going up, down with a leg, and you're like, calisthenics. Yeah, that's it. Yatta!
We got it. Yes. Okay, we're done for the night.
Yeah, please. See you at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I think that's it.
Okay.
I mean, other than, like, I don't think we gave enough shrift to the sexism thing. But I mean, but there's nowhere to go. The character's not going to go away. We can't stop watching the show. We could. We have that option.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, I'm just a little upset about it.
I am too. I mean, I never really liked that about her grandpa when I was watching it as a kid. Never been a fan. So
I could just see young you. It's like, this guy's disrespectful. He doesn't respect women.
Not a fan.
Yeah. Backtracking is back for an all-new season. Hi, I'm Caliban.
And I'm Gooey Fame.
And we'd like to introduce you to Backtracking, the podcast that explores the real-world inspirations behind your favorite episodes of Star Trek.
From historical events to classical literature to blockbuster films, we go where no pod has gone before to seek out the origins of classic Trek tales.
Did you know, Gooey, that the TNG episode Too Short a Season was an allegory for the Iran-Contra affair?
Yeah, only sweatier. Did you know that the Enterprise episode Regeneration was an homage to the John Carpenter film The Thing?
Archer and T'Pol freezing to death over a bottle of whiskey would have been a controversial ending.
As a dog lover, Archer would not like The Thing, I'm guessing.
Oh my god, movie night is canceled. Join us every other Thursday for a journey back to the beginnings of the Trek universe.
Backtracking is available wherever you get your podcasts.
No, Porthos!
For Kyo Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode. Today, we're going to be talking about pro wrestling in Japan.
Ooh, yeah.
You are all pumped up and ready to go.
Trying to think of what Randy Savage used to say. And he says, oh yeah, a lot. Oh, snap into a Slim Jim. He did those commercials.
Okay, those
huge.
I've seen.
He was huge in Japan.
Oh, I'm sure he was.
I don't know if that's true, but I'm sure it's true.
I'm sure it was. I think a lot of wrestlers were big in Japan.
A
so.
sequined cowboy hat and like hypercolor colors, you know, like tropical pastels.
Yeah, right.
You know, sequins all over.
Uh-huh.
Leather jacket.
Sure.
Tassels.
Gotta have tassels.
Right?
Yeah.
Big wraparounds with the neon edging.
Yes.
And then Miss Elizabeth is with him. He's like,
I mean, so much of being a wrestler is
a lot
like...
of sniffing, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. There's a great YouTube video that's like 2 minutes long, and it's just sniffs from like one promo.
What?
It's just like an asthmatic cat.
That's amazing.
All right, sorry, please.
No, that's okay.
Miru.
Puroresu is the predominant style of professional wrestling that has developed in Japan. The term comes from the Japanese pronunciation of professional wrestling, which is all together Purofessionalu Wrestlingu, which is shortened to puroresu. So,
puroresu.
Yes. In the late 1880s, Matsuda Sorakichi started his career as a sumo wrestler. He came to the U.S. in 1883, where he switched to professional wrestling. 1883? Yes.
You don't think about wrestling going back that far, but of course it does.
Yes. And his first fight was on... What?
The entrance videos sucked, though. Not that great.
No. There are no pyrotechnics.
No, it's just like a candle behind a sheet.
Yeah.
You know?
Did they have a lot of people like moving sheets and like throwing lights around?
Yeah, no, they have the metal sheets of metal that the
right.
sound. Everybody comes out to thunder sound. It's what we
popular
got.
This year.
Oh, there's a fire.
Let me put you out. His first fight was on January 14th, 1884 in New York versus an English wrestler named Edwin Bibby, which is a very English name.
Yeah.
He went on to become a featured fighter in wrestling tournaments in the U.S. Sorakichi is considered to be Japan's first pro wrestler, and in 1887 he threw Western-style wrestling exhibitions in Japan, but puroresu did not become popular in Japan until after World War II. There were other attempts before and after World War II to popularize pro wrestling in Japan, but none were successful until the emergence of its first big star, Rikidōzan, in 1951, who became known as the father of puroresu. Rikidōzan brought the sport to tremendous popularity with his Japanese Wrestling Association, or JWA, which was the first puroresu promotion in Japan. Cal, do you want to explain briefly to people who might not be wrestling fans what a wrestling promotion is?
It's like the outfit that they're in,
like
know?
A
so you hear about federation. None of these things really mean anything. I mean, they have like a business license.
Sure.
And depending on the territory or where they are, you may need to have like a sports license in the way that like, in boxing in Nevada or whatever. But yeah, like in the old days of American professional wrestling, it was all divided into territories because somebody had some money and somebody had a phone, and so they booked the halls and the places, and that was the touring company. So there was like the American Wrestling Association, there was the National Wrestling Association, the WWF, later the WWF, later the WWE.
Not confusing at all.
I can't remember what the Southern one was called, and so it's just like, if you wanted to wrestle at the top level in a certain area, that's where you went.
Right.
And anybody can just go, hey, we're going to go to the Armory and bring your friends, and it's $10 for the show, and just be a professional wrestler. But at a certain level, it's like minor league, major league. That would be the major league level.
Thank you for that.
I don't know why it's called a promotion.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know what the terminology is for that. Right. Yeah, exactly. Rikidōzan was a Korean immigrant named Kim Sin-rak. He was also originally a sumo wrestler going by the Japanese name of Mitsuhiro Momata. He quit sumo partially because of discrimination against non-Japanese fighters. And listeners may or may not be aware of this. We've probably talked about this at some point in the show, but there is a lot of discrimination in Japan, especially against Koreans, which unfortunately somewhat persists to this day. And so he was, experiencing that to some extent as a sumo wrestler. And he made his pro wrestling debut in 1951 as under the moniker Rikidōzan, which he continued to keep. And he mostly fought actually American wrestlers. Believe it or not. There were American wrestlers over in Japan. Keeping in mind that this was 1951, it was relatively quickly after World War II, but still during the American occupation of Japan. So Japanese audiences were excited to see and I'm using quotes just because he's actually Korean, Japanese wrestler beat a Westerner, particularly an American.
There's got to be a David and Goliath story in Japan.
Right, probably. But it's that kind of...
It probably involves a cricket or something. Something small.
Right. So Rikidōzan became so popular that he helped raise puroresu's popularity to the level of baseball and sumo in Japan. And with the incorporation of JWA, puroresu was seen as a real sport.
Sure.
Although the JWA was based on an American pro wrestling model, Rikidōzan continued to utilize his trademark karate chop and sumo moves to defeat his rivals. This helped set up puroresu's patent style of mixing martial arts with wrestling, which continues to this day. Unfortunately, Rikidōzan died when he was only 39 years old.
Of course he did.
So Wikipedia, when you first read about it underneath puroresu, just like the main article, he's like, and he was murdered. Moving on. And I'm like, whoa, what? And then you go and you look at it, and so it's more complicated than that. So basically, he had a confrontation with this this guy who was a member of the Yakuza.
Okay.
And supposedly, according to Rikidōzan, the Yakuza member stepped, whose name is Katsushi Murata, stepped on his shoe and demanded an apology, and Murata refused, and they got into an altercation, and Murata stabbed him once. They departed quickly. Rikidōzan got to the hospital.
Very well.
Yeah, I know, right?
On your way.
He got to the hospital. He had surgery, but apparently went against his doctor's orders and began. This is all that's in the article. Began eating and drinking the same day, which apparently he wasn't supposed to do, and he sent his assistant out for sushi and sake.
Okay.
And dude, he drank so much that his condition worsened, and he needed a second surgery 1 week later, and he had developed peritonitis and peritonitis, and then he died. So this Yakuza member was apprehended, and there was a murder trial, and he actually went on trial for murder and served time and got out, and apparently went and apologized to Rikidōzan's sons and visited his grave on the anniversary of his death for the rest of his life, but continued to be a member of the Yakuza.
Yeah, well, in America, the competing promotion would then go, "Want to wrestle for us? You're the man that killed the other
Rikidōzan." Yeah, right. Wow.
Well, things like that have happened before.
That's really
depressing.
I have a
theory. That's we were talking before about why I quit wrestling, and one of the reasons is that wrestlers are like drummers in Spinal Tap. Like, they just die. And I got sick of people that I really liked dying.
That's
and there's
really depressing.
There's a lot of things that go into it. And we can talk about the individual things, but I call it I need a better name, but high school syndrome.
Okay.
So these guys perform 325 days out of the year.
Yeah, sure.
They are constantly on tour.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a band where you go, yeah, woo, we're going on tour. Oh, boy, back to the van, for 6 months or something like that. You sell a bunch of T-shirts, go home, and just live your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, it is the never-ending tour, Bob Dylan style. They are always out there, and it's not just what's up? 300 nights out of the year, they're getting the crap kicked out of them,
mm-hmm.
and they are jumping off of top ropes, and they're breaking tables, and they're landing through things. And so that's a lot of punishment on their body.
Yes.
It's a lot of working out because you got to stay ripped, and
mm-hmm.
so you're overtraining, you're stressing your body.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of drugs, both legal and illegal, to kill the pain of your body,
mm-hmm.
which has been hurt so much. And it's a lot of hotel rooms. It's a lot of fast food, or at least doing your best to eat good. It's just think about going on a road trip and being screw it, give me the double chili cheeseburger.
So much.
It's that for an entire year. And think about when you were in high school and all this it's 10:30, we're so bad, and all the late nights and graveyards and scrapes that you got. I don't know how we got out of that one.
Right.
Now imagine doing that every year of your life for 25 years.
That's insane.
Just on a long enough timeline.
Yeah.
Those dice are going to come up snake eyes at some point.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite wrestlers, Eddie Guerrero, who was just an incredible athlete and so charismatic, just died in a hotel room in my hometown,
mm-hmm.
because they called him to come to the match, and they had to open the door, and he's in there, and he had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
He might have been doing cocaine, but I just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, I know.
And it's still to this day it happens. Just you'll hear that just somebody died.
Yeah, I know.
And then they have a RIP thing and in memoriam, and it'll be on the reel, but. The business moves
too
on.
Much. Yeah.
And
they don't.
The government at one point, we talked before about this, cop mommy thing where it's concerned parents
Right.
at one point tried to get at the WWE, which is like the kind of the biggest organization, so they absorb a lot of the criticism about steroid use and about drug use amongst the wrestlers. And they did something. They paid somebody off, or just, the people got tired of looking into it. And so it just goes on today. Now, because of the increased visibility of wrestlers today, they all have Instagrams, they all have Twitters, they're on podcasts. And they actually get in trouble sometimes for doing that. The visibility is higher. So you know what's going on in the world. And I think because of that, that's forced reform. Because if a wrestler posts an Instagram video of them getting wild, like doing something or other, it gets back to the promotion and people get in trouble. So I think they've had to reluctantly think more about the safety of the wrestlers. It sounds horrible, but they've been forced to be better about taking care of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
Plus, it just makes sense because these people look at John Cena. He's basically an actor now.
He is.
And if you didn't take care of him and you let him, do drugs, or you let him get too hurt to do what he does, you can't then reap the money for the co-producing credit you have on his movie where he's a Marine or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just these people, they are your product.
Yeah, they are.
You gotta
absolutely
sell a bunch of little dolls with the guy going, can't see me. If he goes, you're going to lose all that.
I know.
So it just takes, but it comes from the whole origin of the business in America. I don't know how it is in Japan, but you're telling us of it being a sideshow. It's a carnival. And sorry if you grew up in a carnival, but carnivals have never really been. It's been about the carnival before the performers. If the bearded lady can't go on, we get another bearded lady.
And I think that is, because part of puroresu comes from the United States, it's very largely influenced by that.
Doing the circuit,
right? Going
up and down the coast.
Well, I don't know about that. So expanding out of the traditional U.S. style of pro wrestling, puroresu has become a unique form of the sport. Puroresu is treated as a real fight with less theatrical elements. The narratives told in Japanese battles are about a fighter's spirit and endurance. In strong style, which I've seen kind of basically described as it's kind of like a stiff style of fighting.
Stiff in wrestling means real. It means you're getting hurt for real.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm getting for this as well.
Yeah.
It is most commonly connected with puroresu, full contact martial arts strikes and shoot submission holds are performed.
Shoot also means real.
Okay.
In American wrestling, it's like The Rock pulls back and he's spits in his hand, he's going to hit you. And he just, it's a stage punch basically.
Right.
And he stomps his foot on the mat and it sounds loud and it looks great. And you go flying like you got hit.
Right.
But I've read books about autobiographies of wrestlers who have gone to work in Japan because it's good money in Japan.
Yeah, sure.
And they want you because you're a big American wrestler.
Right.
And they get out there in the ring and it's like, guy hit me in the face.
Yeah,
just
it's
literally
different.
hit me in the face.
It's different.
Yeah,
it's more intense in that way. It should also be noted when the term puroresu refers to all professional wrestling, regardless of the country of origin. So
okay, so when they say oh, puroresu star The Rock is here.
Yes, exactly.
Finally, The Rock has come back to Tokyo.
I hope they have as much fun with the announcements over there as the people do over
here. They
go
nuts for that, but I don't know if I'll just put this here. I read Mick Foley's autobiography. He's a wrestler, very unlikely wrestler, but a fun guy and a long-serving wrestler who worked here, but also he worked in Japan a lot when he was coming up because good money.
Yeah.
And he's also a guy who would do whatever. And they have extreme wrestling. Was not just born in backyards in America. It was born in Japan. Barbed wire matches.
Wow.
Exploding ring matches with real C4.
What?
And so yeah. And thumbtacks. Thumbtacks was a gig that he had, which I think came from Japan, where you just pour thumbtacks all over the ring. You body slam the guy into the thumbtacks.
No.
And so, they get into it and do that over there.
It's making me cringe just think about it. Just thinking about it. Puroresu is typically more serious as well. While there are still a lot of comedic fights and wrestlers, the storylines are not really don't really present it that way. And
it's not like, Vince McMahon tried to have me murdered, so
No.
I'm going to fill his car with cement.
no.
And then I'm going to throw his son off the Jumbotron.
Right. No. There's at least
the backstage
the
stuff.
idea of realism is, present here. They're kind of also the stories are kind of shown as being more sportsmanlike than dramatic than the dramatic style and in the U.S. Kind of more focused on the wrestling.
He's been wanting this championship for a long time.
Right.
This guy hasn't given it to him, and here's his chance.
Exactly. Teams of wrestlers are also way more prominent in puroresu stories, at least in, you see a lot about tag teams in Japanese wrestling, and especially in New Japan Pro Wrestling, or NJPW, which is another puroresu promotion that started in 1972 and is still in action today. So in this particular promotion, when most fighters are recruited by a team, they vow loyalty to that stable. Yeah. This is a major part of NJPW storytelling, as fealty and treachery are chief themes in the most popular puroresu storylines.
Sure.
So it's a huge, like, you broke my heart,
Yeah.
It's that sort of
Shawn
thing.
Michaels kicking Marty Jannetty through the window of the barbershop.
Right, exactly. Japanese strong style emphasizes brutal punches and kicks that are not pulled back. Pro Wrestling Noah, which is another puroresu promotion, specifically it is difficult to differentiate from MMA fights, and frequently includes long sequences of incredibly savage attacks between fighters.
Sure.
There are a lot of puroresu promotions, but another one that I should mention is All Japan Pro Wrestling that also started in 1972. I did also want to mention that puroresu with female wrestlers is called joshi puroresu, or it is sometimes shortened to joshi puro. All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling was the most prominent joshi organization, so another promotion, from the 1970s to the 1990s. AJW's first major star was Mak Fumiake in 1974, followed in 1975, and I should say female wrestling in Japan became very popular in the 70s. Followed in 1975 by Jackie Sato and Maki Ueda, known as the Beauty Pair. And if you listen to our podcast on Patreon, Animetification, you will know that the idea for the Dirty Pair novels, which would get developed into the anime and manga of the same name, came from seeing a match with the Beauty Pair.
That's right.
So, I'm going to briefly talk about some Japanese wrestlers that you should know, but there are so many. We just don't have time to even touch on all of them. But another wrestler I want to mention is Antonio Enoki. Mm-hmm. Antonio Enoki, born Kanji Enoki, took the ring name Antonio in honor of fellow wrestler Antonino Rocca. Enoki fought Muhammad Ali in a wrestler versus boxer match in 1976.
Yeah. It sucked.
Yeah, I heard that it sucked.
Yeah.
But the fight, that being said, it's recognized as being a forerunner for mixed martial arts fights. But yeah, I heard people were not excited about it.
Right.
But that Enoki was one of the top puroresu stars, and he was trained by Rikidōzan.
Right.
And he founded New Japan Pro Wrestling in 1972, which is one of the promotions that I mentioned.
Right.
He was so popular, you may know this, that he became a politician and was elected to the House of the Councilors from 1989 to 1995, and a second time from 2013 to 2019.
Wow. A wrestler becoming a politician.
I know.
Who could even think that could be true?
Jesse, the
whether
body,
or not
Governor
you got
Ventura.
time to bleed.
Yeah, I know. In puroresu, he held 14 titles in Japan. In 1979, he won the WWF World title from Bob Backlund.
Mm-hmm.
However, the WWE does not acknowledge the title exchange.
No, they don't.
And in 2010, the WWE inducted him into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the WWE loves to. I mean, Donald Trump's in the WWE Hall of Fame. They love to just try to legitimize themselves by drawing in everybody that they can.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't love it.
Hegemony.
Yeah. Jushin Thunder Liger.
Jushin Liger.
Born Keiichi Yamada, made his puroresu debut with NJPW in 1984. In 1989, he was given the gimmick of Jushin Liger, which is based on the anime series with the same name. The following year, Thunder was added to his fighting persona's name. His name and Super Sentai-like costume, complete with a horned mask, might have been a gimmick, but his fighting style and techniques were not. He is frequently cited as one of the best junior heavy fighter wrestlers in history. He won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship a record 11 times.
Yeah.
And set the record for its longest reign during his second reign, which lasted for 628 days.
Wrestled 4,000 matches in his career.
That's insane.
And he retired last year.
I know.
And he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame last year.
Of course he was.
He trained in Mexico, which is why he wears the mask.
That's cool. There's a couple of people who have trained in Mexico, like the next fighter I was going to talk about, Ultimo Dragon, who was born Yoshiro Asai. And he also learned to wrestle the lucha libre style while working in Mexico. And he has a record as the professional wrestler with the most concurrent championships. Mm-hmm. On October 11th, 1996, he won the J Crown, a unification of 8 lower weight division titles from various international promotions.
Yeah, some of their matches
which is
are
insane.
Like, I mean, there's a couple different belts and stuff, and it gets confusing in American wrestling, but some of the different things in Japan are like, okay, he won this. It's like soccer, it's like a European football. It's like, all right, we won this thing, but then that's now the next thing. I'll see you at regionals, like that kind of thing. The way they stack on top of each other.
Right. An accomplished fighter. And then I also wanted to mention a couple of wrestlers who are very popular right now. One that I wanted to mention is Kazu Ika Okada. He signed to New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he's a 5-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Okada's 4th reign with the championship is the longest in history at 720 days. He also holds the record for most successful title defenses with 12. He was initially trained by Ultimo Dragon, and he made his debut in 2004. Okada became the first Japanese wrestler to top Pro Wrestling Illustrated's list of the top 500 wrestlers in the world in 2017.
Wow.
So, yeah, he's really big right now. And then on the female wrestling side, Asuka, born Kanako Urai, is currently signed to the WWE, actually. So she's performing on the Raw brand over here in the U.S., where she is the current Raw Women's Champion in her 2nd reign.
Sure.
So WWE has billed her as having the longest undefeated streak in WWE history at 914 days, though other wrestlers in the male division have had similar or longer winning streaks. So.
Sure.
But, and then her techniques, include various kicks and submission holds, leading to a reputation for a stiff wrestling style, probably, the strong, Japanese strong wrestling style.
Yeah.
And she also, interestingly enough, is also a freelance graphic designer and video game journalist. And
so
yeah, and she Through her work with Microsoft, she has been sponsored by the company wearing an Xbox 360 logo on her gear. And since 2019, she has her own YouTube channel called Kana-chan TV that focuses on gaming, lifestyle content. And so, yeah, that's really popular.
She's won the first Women's Royal Rumble. She's Grand Slam champion. She's pretty good.
Yeah, she is pretty good. I did also just want to mention Hana Kimura, who was a female puroresu wrestler who was on Terrace House, which is a show that I really enjoy. It's a Japanese reality show, and unfortunately last year, due to a lot of online harassment that she was experiencing and also going probably through depression and that sort of thing, she took her own life, which is really sad. I just want to take a moment to, encourage if you ever are feeling depressed and need somebody to talk to reach out to a hotline. If there's nobody you feel like you can talk to in your own life, it's so upsetting to me that, Hana felt like she couldn't talk to anybody. And I think that mental health is really important, and, want to do everything that I can to help destigmatize mental health stigma.
Yeah. It's, a lot of, we talked before about the problems that wrestlers face, and a lot of them have been in similar situations and have either taken their own lives or died, or, through substance abuse, which was obviously a side effect of the kind of problems, emotional problems and physical problems that they were dealing with. So yeah, it's a tough life.
Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? At Hikawa Shrine, Rei is finishing putting together a snack for her and the girls. She is about to make some tea, most likely green tea. And the larger of the two kinds of treats, I believe, are senbei. And senbei are a kind of Japanese rice cracker. They come in a variety.
Okay, that's what the square was on top of them. It was nori, right? Or something? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
They come in a variety of sizes, shapes, and flavors, and are typically savory, but can sometimes be sweet. Senbei are frequently eaten with green tea and as a casual snack, and offered to visiting house guests as a courtesy refreshment. Here is a courtesy refreshment.
Sure. Well, yeah, it's like biscuits.
Yeah, right.
Like when you go to somebody's house, you're not really like hungry for biscuits, but it's like there's so many different kinds of biscuits.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it? Oh, you know what? I haven't had the fruit and nut or whatever in a while. Took a little bite of that.
Right.
Not expected to finish it. It's hospitality.
Right. It's just a little treat, a little something.
Yeah. Or you can eat them with both hands. Like Usagi does. Like Cookie Monster.
I know, right? Crumbs everywhere. Senbei are typically cooked by being grilled or baked, traditionally over charcoal. While cooking, they are usually brushed with a sauce, which is frequently made of soy sauce and mirin, which is a kind of rice wine that is a common ingredient in Japanese cuisine. Villain gauge, we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The droid in this episode is called Dumbo, or Dumboru in Japanese. Dumboru's name might be a reference to dumbbells, has been suggested. However, it is more likely a reference to a combined name of two popular female wrestlers in the late 80s and early 90s. Dump or Dumpu Matsumoto and Bull Nakano. So Matsumoto was the leader for a long time of the stable Goku Kao Dome, which included Bull Nakano. Goku Kao Dome were all villains, and Matsumoto as the leader was seen as the group's mentor. They were part of the All Japan Pro Women's Wrestling NJPW promotion. Matsumoto and Nakano often were teamed up together in fights and frequently pitted against the fan favorite tag team, the Crush Gals.
That's next season.
Yeah.
We'll see the Crush Gals.
Yes, which consisted of the Lioness Asuka and Chigusa Nagayo. Their long-running rivalry was immensely popular in Japan during the 1980s, with their televised fights being some of the highest ratings in Japanese TV, as well as consistently selling out arenas. Matsumoto and Nakano often wore elaborate makeup when they fought. Sometimes the makeup around their eyes would look similar to a kabuki performer. This was particularly Matsumoto's theme that she seemed to keep going back to. Nakano continued to fight after Matsumoto retired and was known for her outlandish appearance. She fought with blue cracked lines on her face. It's kind of like these lined patterns. Like there's just like all these lines on her face, and she's got this really
Big
intense
disgrace.
look on her eyes. And she had brightly colored hair, like all sorts of different colors at different times, yellow, blue, green, etc., with a ton of product in it, so that the front part of her hair that went past her shoulders, by the way, would be sticking straight up.
Okay.
So it was a
Fair.
distinct look. So for her Danboru's character design, she has light green skin, blue lipstick, red painted star above her right eye, which you mentioned her David Bowie like appearance.
This whole thing is David Bowie.
Yeah,
I've seen other
the hair as well.
Fans, on the internet, like make the explicit connection to David Bowie with this character.
Yeah,
I think it's like it's like the David Bowie's Hulk. Like if David Bowie got too funky, then like he would be turned into this, and he'd be like, "It's a woman."
I like the idea that. Yeah,
it is. It's like, oh man, we gotta.
Deal
it's
with
too
it.
funky. It's too fun. Play some Glenn Campbell. It's like, starts to calm down. Just turns back into the Thin White Duke.
I like this idea. Yeah, and then of course her kind of like mullet almost hairstyle, but it's almost like have like a pointed flat top sort of thing going on, which might have been a reference to Bull Nakano's hairstyle somewhat as well, even though it is different. And of course, she has once she transforms, she's got the purple cape with the pointed collar, and she's got metal fasteners that almost look like a necklace. She's got a bright pink sports bra, a blue unitard that has a deep V in the front and in the back, a large black wrestling belt with the gold embellishments, and her Black Moon Clan droid gem that's red in the center. She also has blue arm bracers that are black on the top and have red spikes on the black part and down the middle of the outside of them. She also has black shoulder armor with red spikes on them and blue over-the-knee boots with black cuffs that have red spikes, as well as having spikes down the middle of the back. And she has 2 red marks that almost look like tiger stripes on each leg.
Got a couple stripes.
Yeah. I really like Danboru's character design. I think that you look at her and she seems like she's a pro wrestler. I also like that her name refers to 2 wrestlers who are often paired as a tag team. I do think that she's also pretty effective as a bad guy. She stabs Ray really early on and knocks Grandpa out. She's not necessarily my favorite, but I have to give credit where credit is due, so I'm going to give her 4 out of 5 dark stars.
Nice. I have to admit, I feel a little like Grandpa in this situation. Her human form is really hot. That's a good look. I like the headband, with the bob and the red hair look. It's good stuff.
Like the unitard with the heart cut out.
It's a leotard. Unitard has legs. Leotard no legs. Just go ahead and look it up. It's fine. And the sports bra under. This is this supposed to be the 90s, but this is like more 80s, really, like 80s workout gear. Right when things were popping off for me. So now we got that out of the way. No comeuppance.
Weird.
And David Bowie's like my favorite singer, songwriter, and freaky alien. And so the fact that she's like that, when she first comes out and she's like, there's lightning and it's got the cape and everything.
Yeah, right.
It's just, I mean, the only thing they were missing was like a great theme song for her, like a motif, which she lacks. And then as far as her design goes, too much, way too much. But like we've said before, when you've got that power to hold it all together, which she does, it somehow goes higher. There is no 6. I give her a 5.
All right. So now we're up to where we rate the episode. I really liked that the Senshi were all working at Hikawa Shrine as Miko to help Rei out. I love that even though Rei is sometimes embarrassed and upset by her grandfather's behavior, she still loves him very much and would do whatever it takes to protect him. I love that Chibiusa wants to get stronger than the Usagi, so she thinks that whatever Rei's grandpa is doing is a good idea. And I know it's played for laughs, but I don't really like most of the plot that is a lecherous old man trying to get close to hot young women. So, probably largely because of that, I am going to give this episode 3 out of 5 roses.
I don't want to tank it for that, but it's going to factor in. Mm-hmm. I know that they're dealing with, first of all, this is 30 years ago.
I know.
They're dealing with tropes that are just ingrained in this and are, not questioned in our mind for comedy, but it's going to be in the rating. Chibi trying to join up. I don't know. It's fine, I guess. I thought that she would, to this point, she's been, okay, so we've been with these girls for 2 seasons now, right? Mm-hmm. And then here comes Pink Sagi, and it's like she's going to comment on everything. She's like, why is this like this? And your family's kind of dumb. You do math a lot. Like, she's going to pop all the balloons, right?
Right.
But not. She's just like, she should be the one who pulls the gun on Grandpa and is like, you leave the country tonight. Oh I'll find you. Her red eyes. But instead, she's just like, yeah, we're doing it.
I know,
like,
jazz kicks.
Why does she like Grandpa?
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you.
I don't know either. It's the first time she ever met him. So anyway, I like the wrestling bit. They without alienating viewers, like Community. Within jokes, they made it as much. They captured the energy and the rhythm of a wrestling match without rubbing it in your face. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I appreciated that. I liked them working at the shrine. Just the whole protect essay thing is just so half baked.
It's weird.
So I think it earned the 2 that I'm going to give it.
Whoa! You gave it a 2?
It was starting underground.
Oh.
And all the wrestling stuff and Dumble brought it above ground to settle at a 2.
Wow. I am
There's
surprised.
only 5 numbers.
I know, but
I indicated I wasn't going to give it a 1, and I'm not going to give it a 5 or a 4.
Oh,
and you gave it a 3.
I thought you were dissing me for my low rating of this amazing episode. So I
started by saying that I wasn't going to totally bury it for being incredibly sexist because I'm not like it's got sexism in it. Immediately give it a 1.
No. No.
I just, I understand that it's like hey, we're on the movie channel or whatever.
Yeah.
Hi.
TCM. Yeah.
So we're going to show you Gone with the Wind. Don't freak out. Like, I get the cultural context, the historical context. I just think that the whole thing kind of falls apart. Like, if this is going to be Grandpa's big comeuppance, let's do it. If Grandpa's going to get away with it one more time, let's make that more clear. But they tried to have their, leotards and eat them too? Cut me off. I'm done.
Why are you eating leotards?
You made me keep going.
I'm sorry. I didn't know I was doing that.
Cut it.
All right. My English title is Rei's Fighting Spirit, Flaming Protection.
Okay. That's good. Flaming Protection. Mine, we'll run this by the censors.
Okay.
We'll run it by standards and practices. If they say not for a kid show,
okay,
we don't use it.
All right.
But I was thinking body slam. BAWDY slam.
You had me worried there. I thought it was going to be like racy. That's not bad. I don't think that that's too bad. Most kids they probably like, Mom, what's a body?
That's why. Nope. They come back.
I see.
Stands in practice, comes back. No. And then I say Royal Dumble.
I like it.
Or let's get ready to dumble.
Oh, see, that's good too. Yeah, for sure. Very nice.
Or jerk ass grandpa.
What? maybe not that one. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 64. Ginzusho o Motomete, Chibiusa no Himitsu in Japanese. In Search of the Silver Crystal, Chibiusa's Secret, the English translation, and the English title, Trouble Comes Thundering Down.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Looks like Jupiter's not getting her new attack this week.
I know. Like, I mean...
Wait, the trouble's thundering. Maybe she is.
I don't know. It's weird. I'm not sure. Her name is not in the title, so it's kind of hard to figure out what it is going to be about.
I wouldn't bet against it.
Yeah. Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Back out! No comeuppance!